If we are reflections of a four-dimensional being, is the movement of life happening in 3 dimension or 4 dimensions? There is no meaning to the word movement in the 4th dimension because it is not a place. There is no necessity for movement in the 4th dimension. Again, we move to know. If all the information is available on a single point, you don't have to move an inch. Why would you move? Movement is a 3-dimensional phenomenon. Just like if there is a creature stuck on a flat surface, even to move, it has to push itself off the surface. That's what movement is. And because it cannot push itself off the surface, because it is a 2-dimensional entity that is stuck on a 2-dimensional plane, it knows nothing about movement. A 3-dimensional entity can move because the space allows for it. Now, 4th dimension is such an entity that without even the necessity for moving, you can move. Because you are everywhere at all times. Now, this is something you cannot wrap your head around. Because we live and think in limitation. For us, language itself is a way of describing the limitation of life, the limitation of experiences. That limitation is what manifests as space. That limitation is what manifests as time. Time and space are not real. They are limitations, perceptual limitations. Because I cannot be everywhere at all times, there is a concept of space and time. In the 4th dimension, this problem doesn't exist at all. It is a totality that is everywhere at all times without any necessity to move. That's why it is outside of space and time. It is complete in every which way possible. When perceptual thoughts gather around a conscious center, that conscious center is being blocked. Again, perceptually. You cannot block the totality of consciousness in any way. Just like the sun, you cannot block the sun except perceptually. You can just put your hand in front of your eyes and you can say, I have blocked the sun. But for the entity that has been blocked, it is real. For me, yeah, I'm unable to see the sun. In exactly the same way, there's a conscious center around which this perceptual wave of thoughts form. And this wave moves and thickens to a point where it completely blocks the conscious center. In the case of entities like the sun, this conscious center is totally blocked. That is why they cannot actualize their own state. In the case of human beings, this conscious center is open. It has an access. We have eyes. Eyes are nothing but conscious centers. It is through which we interact with the outside world. That is why if we don't keep our eyes open, we don't know how to interact with our world. We still interact, but like we are in a dream. You can still have experiences, sensations, because it's all happening in the 4th dimension, but there is no meaningful way of interacting with the 3 dimensions with eyes closed. So what are eyes? It's basically an opening through which you are able to interact with consciousness. You are able to go in and out. That perceptual blocking of a conscious center is what creates our world of experiences, our 3-dimensional world. That is why our 3-dimensional world has no thickness. Things only appear to be complete with an inside. But this inside doesn't exist in the 3 dimensions. This inside extends in the 4th dimension. Anytime we cut a body, we're not looking at its inside, we're looking at the outside of an altogether different body. So in our three dimensions, it's always the outside, the surface that we have access to. To know the inside of something, we have to turn inward. Now, that is what meditation is. That is what mindfulness is. Why meditation is a universal phenomenon. It has been relevant, it has existed since the beginning. We can go as far back as we want in time, we will still find this simple practice of trying to experience oneself from inside. To be quiet, to be watchful, to experience consciousness, to experience aliveness from inside. Why? Because only from the inside we can know, touch, and experience reality. From outside, we are only skimming on the top of the surface. As waves of the ocean, we are just being pushed from one place to another by the momentum of thoughts, by the movement created by our desires, our sensations. At the depth is the still ocean of consciousness, a perfection that you are, a place where you are exactly what you have always been. An eternal entity. In fact, it's so easy to define eternity when you don't try to define it. You simply remove the limitation of time. Then you will find an eternal entity. When we realize that time and space are perceptual entities, when this perceptual entity is removed, who are you? Consciousness. What is your nature? Eternal. Are you alive? Of course, yes. Do you exist? Yes. So now look at the relationship between this consciousness and the world of shadows you're interacting with. You are pouring all these things onto a shadow and you're making it more and more real. You are giving all your aliveness to the body, your consciousness to the body, your experiences to the body, and you're glorifying the body. And when it suffers, you suffer. When it is insulted, you are insulted. When it fails, you fail. This is the problem with becoming identified with something that we are not. It leads to suffering, it leads to pain. Suffering need not be explained through some mysterious process or a cruel God. It's just identifying ourselves with a limited entity. That is enough to cause suffering. Because we are limitless beings, now because we are having a limited experience, that limited experience is pain. That limited experience is disease. That limited experience is life and death. That limited experience is searching for love, searching for meaning, searching for purpose. What is it that you're searching for when you are what you're searching for? What the fourth dimension does is it gives us a clear direction in which to move. It gives us a clear purpose. Yes, it is a challenge to understand it. It takes effort to move towards it. But for the first time, we know exactly what needs to be done. For the first time, we know how to get to that place of completeness. It is no longer a speculative idea. It is no longer left to some mystical interpretation of life. You no longer have to only rely on a guru or a teacher. You can go to the teacher to clarify ideas now. You can go with a basic framework of understanding. People have always wondered, how do I separate between a real teacher and a fake teacher? Well, once you know the basic framework of consciousness, simple objective language, consciousness is this higher dimension. It's nothing mystical. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with the grace of the God or the grace of the teacher. All that fuzzy explanations are not needed. It is a higher dimensional entity which is mind. And it is conscious because of its very nature. Now, there are thoughts, and when I actualize those thoughts, because I am consciousness, I project a body. Now, if I do this projection enough number of times, again and again and again and again, I forget the projecting entity. I forget consciousness, I forget thoughts, and I simply see myself as this body. Now, to realize the true nature of my being, I just need ways, I need methods, I need techniques to disidentify myself with the body. Now, with this framework, go to a teacher. If he is not clarifying this process, if he is not helping you to understand this process, he's a fake teacher. If he tells you to wear an anklet so that when you sit in meditation, it is keeping you grounded, you don't leave your body, you say, what nonsense are you talking about? Because an anklet itself is an actualized thought, just like my body. And how can one actualized thought become an anchor for my entire body? See, you have a framework. You have a way of understanding. Now, this language was missing. This is why people who loved science hated all these gurus and teachers and all that nonsense. Because they did not have a frame of reference to understand what they're talking about. Of course, this gave rise to all kinds of fake teachers. For one Buddha, there are 100, let's not use names, there are 100 others. This is the problem. So how do you know you are actually learning from a teacher? You're actually learning from someone who's gone through the experience. It is impossible. Doubt will always be there because there's no frame of reference. There is no way of tracking progress. There is no way of objectively verify the teachings. With the understanding of fourth dimension, this problem will be solved. If a teacher has been through the journey, he will be able to understand fourth dimension. He will be able to explain in a language that you can understand. And the language we all can understand without any problem is the language of science, where we can come to a common agreement. Now, that is the language we need to describe internal experiences, to take us to that real place. Now, all the confusions that have happened because of this lack of clear, objective scientific language is what we experience as religion. Religion is search for truth, quest for truth. But without this language, nobody knows what they are searching for and why they are searching for it. We have created concepts of heaven and hell simply because we did not know that consciousness is an actual higher dimension. It is not some mysterious thing. Real is to step away from the world of experiences and be with the subject. And because consciousness is the subject and it is a higher dimensional entity, we can understand it systematically and get there.